I'm particularly pleased to introduce our next speakers because we're all in global technology product marketing at SAS. We have Manisha Khanna with us today and Brianna Ullman, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about what they do at SAS.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. So first of all, it's good to see some familiar faces in the audience. I am Manisha. I lead up the AI product marketing team for SAS. And no guesses, our topic is going to be all AI today. So looking forward to the conversation.
And I'm Brianna Ullman. I'm a product marketing manager here at SAS as well, working with Manisha on AI. And we wanted to start our presentation today with a little bit of a Disney story, since we're here in Orlando, one of my favorites. And that's the story of Aladdin and his magic lamp.
OK.
So we're talking about Aladdin and his magic lamp, super on topic for our AI conference, right? Well, I think we can think of AI as kind of being like this magic lamp right now. It is this incredible force with the power to grant some pretty transformative wishes. And it's no surprise that everyone is rushing to claim their stake. Manisha, what do you think?
Yeah, in fact, we are in the middle of what we're calling as an AI gold rush situation. And many of the customers we speak with, they echo the same sentiment. They're all excited about the potential of AI, yet struggling to adopt it in their own environments. Now, only a few of our customers, in fact, many of them, but when we talk about advanced AI, agentic AI, only a few of them are thinking about building the right foundation and unlocking real productivity with AI. So today, we are going to focus on this topic, on how can you get the right foundation to prepare for this AI gold rush and to make sense out of all of this, right? So what we did, though, was we wanted to understand this market sentiment better about the AI gold rush. So we surveyed over 1,600 organizations across the globe. And the results of the survey were absolutely shocking. So I'll let Brianna unwrap the survey results for all of you.
Yeah, I agree with you, Manisha. I was pretty surprised by a lot of what we found in this global Gen AI survey. So there were a couple of key insights here that I think are helpful. One is that expectations are just sky high right now. Decision makers aren't just expecting some ROI increases when it comes to their AI impacts. They want dramatic increases to ROI. And when it comes to this AI gold rush that Manisha was talking about, these organizations don't just want to feel like they're winning. They really want to win big. But it's difficult to reach the point of achieving results, and many are struggling to go from this conceptual phase to practical use. And finally, governance concerns are near universal, with many in the survey also expressing areas of concern as data privacy and security. So overall, this led us to identify this kind of AI leadership gap, where we have the AI gold rush, and we have people that are struggling in the AI gold rush, and those who are succeeding. This group of leaders who are succeeding in our AI gold rush are doing things a little bit differently. They are jumping into the market, and they are prioritizing governance at the center of their approach. And this is a pretty exclusive group as well. When we completed this study, we found that only about 16% of respondents were what we would consider this leader category. Manisha, what do you think leaders should be thinking about right now in our market?
Yeah, and it's not a surprise. Most of the leaders are thinking about this Mount Agentic AI. It's the new peak where everybody wants to go climb and go take a selfie on, and everyone is chasing it. But let's not forget, this is actually an iceberg. Agentic AI stands on the shoulders of giants like all of you here in the room, where I believe all of you have spent decades building data engineering, doing statistics, modeling, enabling trustworthy AI systems. Whether you're an observer or the top 16% leaders, which Brianna spoke about, it's clear that you must build on the foundation you have worked so hard to create, and not just discard it for the next technology wave, whether it's agentic AI or it's anything else. But we know with experience that it's only through continuous improvement that we can scale AI and harness its full potential, and that's true for agentic AI as well. And that is why today, Brianna and I are going to walk you through an end-to-end AI blueprint, one that just doesn't touch the tip of the iceberg, but addresses entire requirements beneath it.
Absolutely. And we feel that if you want to grow AI and scale AI at your organization, you'll want to consider a blueprint. There are a couple main reasons here. Everything works better together when you're operating with an AI blueprint. Your data, your models, your tools, and your teams are in sync. Trust matters. You want your AI to be fair, explainable, and to play by the rules. And you want to grow without chaos. Sure, it's great to put an AI prototype out there, but scaling AI throughout the organization is kind of a different beast altogether. And that's why we want to share this AI blueprint with you. I want to be clear here, this is not just for one team. This is for your whole organization. So I think we've got a lot to dive into, Manisha.
Absolutely, and it's so exciting. Let's get in it. So at the heart of the AI blueprint are these three pillars of people, process, and technology. And only when these three pillars work in harmony together, you can get the success with AI. Let's unpack this a bit more. AI starts with people. Leaders are driving outcomes by solving industry-specific problems which drive maximum ROI, and that's number one. As Brianna mentioned, they're also embedding governance and transparency at the heart of the process. Process. Okay, I'm going to go back. Okay, let's move on. So process is what makes AI stick. And it is led by managing change and adoption, which is a key piece to make sure your users are comfortable using AI. It also means integrating AI into your existing workflows or revamping your workflows, thinking of transformation in your organizations. It is also about using processes which are agile, like XOps, for continuous improvement, and this is how leaders scale AI. Finally, technology powers it all, and you're seeing a lot of technology today at the conference. But it includes reliable models which foster innovation in your organization. It is also about high-quality governed data. And finally, scalable, trustworthy AI foundation. And as I mentioned before, it's only when all these pillars interact together in harmony, you can drive real success with AI.
All right, so we are going to walk you through each of the pillars that Manisha just broke down for us, look at them in a little bit more detail, and see some examples of how to implement them successfully. So our first pillar is our AI foundation. This refers to the high-level strategic planning of our AI systems and can align really well around the concepts of productivity, performance, and trust. When it comes to productivity and performance, we can imagine this kind of end-to-end ecosystem that we're seeing here. So we have our technical users, and they are deep in the work of building AI. They're using design time, where their ability to be productive determines how quickly you get AI into production. And then underneath the hood, we have a layer of runtime, which determines how quickly everyone gets the answers that they need. And when it comes to trust, with generative AI and agentic AI being more embedded into our daily lives and experiences, it's important to think about the function of trust and really view it at the foundational level of your AI approach. It's not just us, but it's everyone in the industry that are trying to figure out the right balance between human and machine, and trust can really be that essential building block. All right, we talked about productivity, performance, and trust. So now let's get our data ready for AI. And here, sometimes data can feel pretty scattered. Maybe it's coming from a lot of different sources and a lot of different formats. What we need is to discover, analyze, and inventory our data in a data catalog so we can create metadata and profile the quality of our data. Manisha, could you show us how to do that in SAS Viya?
Sure, Brianna, and we will do all of this process in SAS Information Catalog. Now, SAS Information Catalog shows metadata of all the assets you have in your organization at a glance. I want to build a loan application, so I will search for all the assets with a column name default. And I can see my analytical base table. I can click on it to see the details of it. And at a glance, for the analytical base table, I can see the completeness, the size, and much other information on this table. Viya also automatically detects sensitive data in my data set, which in this case is age, gender, and race. Without any code needed, I can look at my target variable, which is default in this case, and I can instantly see the distribution of my data set, which is zeros and ones on the right-hand side. I can also look at other other values in my data set, and I can see here that the interest rate column, it has outliers which might need more treatment, so I can work on this data set and improve it. I want to look at the gender variable now, so that I can check for the representation bias, and again, improve on this variable to make my data set more ready for AI. Viya also automatically generates various data quality measures out of the box, which simplifies your overall process. I can also highlight issues in my data set, and in this case, you're also seeing Viya is flagging sensitive and private variables one more time. Finally, I can see all my data in my sample data tab, and once I'm happy with it, everything looks good, I can go approve my data set and publish it to a data scientist to start the modeling process. So Brianna, that was SAS Information Catalog, where we prepared our data.
All right, now that you've shown us how to access and govern our data, it's time for our next step, which is data engineering. This is where we're joining our data sets and adding in new calculations to reach our goal of making a prediction or a classification. And if we want to throw some synthetic data in there and augment our data, this is where we would perform that step as well. Manisha, can you show us how to do this in Viya?
Absolutely. So what we'll do is we'll navigate to the second capability in SAS Viya within the same interface, and it's called SAS Studio. What I've done in SAS Studio is I've designed a flow, which is low code, no code, drag and drop. And I have designed a flow which is looking at two tables, joining them, running some transformation, and producing my analytical base table, which I want to visualize. You can see on the left-hand side, there are various steps in the flow, which I can drag and drop. These are out of the box, and then they help me create my flow in a faster way. I have steps which include data transformation, visualization, and advanced analytics. Now, in my flow, you can see that I have a SAS program and a Python program, which means that today you can use your language of choice within the same platform. Now, in the Share tab, I have various custom steps which my other colleagues have created, and these are like best practices which are standardized, and I want to reuse them across my organization. And Brianna mentioned synthetic data. SAS has created some custom steps for synthetic data generation, which are published on GitHub, available for free if you have Viya. Now, finally, I can run this flow and start to visualize my outcome, which in this case is a bar chart, where I'm seeing the loan purpose by frequency. And now I have my data set completely ready for AI, Brianna.
Wonderful. All right, so we have gotten our data ready for AI, and now we can move into our next pillar, which is AI ML innovation. And we see leaders often embrace a diverse range of algorithms here, with the goal of doing reality-tested AI and composite AI, which is just the use of multiple AI capabilities together to solve a problem.
All right, so Brianna, what we want to do here is there are different choices of algorithms here. And if you notice here, we have agentic AI as well, which we visualize as a process step, like a workflow process within the same AI ML innovation area. So what I want to do is I want to look at my data and choose the right algorithm to use. So that means that I have to ask a lot of questions to my data set. So for that, I'll switch to the Viya interface again and use an application called SAS Visual Analytics to ask questions on my data and choose the right algorithm. So let's see how. So we are now at the SAS Visual Analytics interface, where I want to ask questions on my loan data set. Now, I have my target variable default here, which has values zeros and ones. And I want to basically conduct analysis on my default variable. So I ask Viya to explain the default variable, and Vaya produces a report for me, which I want to start analyzing. Now, from the report, and you can see it's very simple to create with a single click, I can see variables like interest rate, credit score, number of inquiries, which show high predictive power towards my target variable, which is default. Next, I want to explore correlation and distribution of predictors. Now, within Vaya, you can use a wide variety of visualizations which are available out of the box, and in this way, I can visualize the data in the way in my favorite report or chart I want. But the end goal here is to build a predictive model. So from the analysis of my default variable, I can quickly launch the model by requesting one of the out-of-the-box algorithms available within SAS Vaya. Now, in our case, I chose a logistic regression model. I also chose a gradient boosting model and a neural network model. I want to then compare these models and choose which model is best fit for my task by using various matrices available out of the box in Vaya. And once I have the right model, I want to push the selected model into my next application, which is SAS Model Studio, for further refinement. So, Brianna, this is how I understood my data set, and now at least I know across the palette of various algorithms available which algorithms to use for my right business problem.
Absolutely. And so now that we've gotten to this point where you have started to create a model, we want to pit those models against each other. We want to use a model tournament and run that within our modeling pipeline. Our goal here is to identify our champion model, the model that is the best fit. So, Manisha, can you run that tournament for us?
Absolutely. Let's run the tournament. So we will do this in the SAS Model Studio application. So you can see here, I'm in SAS Model Studio, where on the left-hand side, you can see all the AI, machine learning, and analytical steps as nodes on the left-hand side of the pane. But I want to start with data pre-processing. So I choose one of the out-of-the-box nodes, which is imputation, which helps me impute missing values within Vaya. For the imputation node, on the right-hand side of the pane, you can see without any coding, I can configure various properties. So in this case, I want to choose a method I want to use, the data limits, random seed, and many other properties which are available in Vaya. I can run the pipeline and view results at any time, and I can click on any of the nodes, and in similar way, I can see various advanced settings without any code in my pipeline building process. Next, I want to review the data structure. So I move back to the Data tab, and here I can see the input data, I can see the target data, and various metadata which is automatically created with Vaya. Here I can see that I have my variables, gender and race, which are tagged to be assessed for bias, which means that I want to see additional matrices as I run my model pipeline for fairness and bias. I can rerun this pipeline, return to the Data tab as many number of times I want until I'm happy with my data preprocessing. But now after imputation, I want to add a model. So I go back to the pipeline tab, and here I can add a Python model, which is a Python script, or a SAS model. I want to here look at my Python model, and I do a right click, look at the results of my Python model, where in the summary tab, I can see the Python code and the score code generated plus the results generated by the Python model in the single screen. In the assessment tab, I can see all the matrices which Vaya automatically generates for me to assess this model. And you can see here that Vaya also generated an automated explanation in plain, simple English language. And this is very useful because what I can do is I can export these reports and send it to my next team member and also understand these in a very simple way. So what we'll do next is I will now look at the fairness and bias matrices, which is the next tab here. And again, just like the previous tab, there are multiple pre-generated matrices here for the age and gender variables I set for assessing for bias in my previous step. I want to review these matrices, but again, what's great here is that all these charts and the interpretation can also be exported to PDF format and shared easily with my model validation team. Now we've walked through one pipeline. But usually, it's about building multiple pipelines. And in fact, many of our customers are running hundreds and thousands of pipelines within the same interface to run the tournaments. Now, in summary, no matter how many pipelines you have, the good thing about SAS Vaya is that you can visualize and see all these pipelines in one single place. And this is how SaaS Via makes building pipeline faster, powerful, and a lot more efficient.
Absolutely. So we have now seen how to execute on reality-tested AI and composite AI. So we can move into our XOps pillar. And maybe this sounds kind of familiar, whether you've heard of ML ops or data ops, and whether you're early in your implementation of AI or you can think back to that time. It's pretty difficult to link all of these concepts together, right? This is where XOps comes in. It's a comprehensive approach to managing your AI initiatives, and it really helps to streamline operations across the AI lifecycle. So let's see how we can apply XOps to our models. And I want to take a little show of hands poll when it comes to our models here today. I know that many organizations have dozens, if not hundreds or thousands of models, and I want to know how we're feeling about them. Who feels like they're drowning in their models a little bit? Anybody? A couple brave hands, thank you. And who is on the other end of the spectrum? Who feels so confident about their models? These are, my best assets to make decisions. Yeah? Okay, I see one. And I'm happy for you. And I think the rest of us are probably somewhere in the middle, right? This is really where model management can help to streamline our approach. This is the storage of assets and other information about our model all in one place. And we have model cards that are now extending our model management abilities by providing an easy-to-understand summary of the critical information about our model in a way that functions kind of like a nutrition label that we see on our food. Manisha, could you show us that model card?
Yeah, let's look at the model manager interface now, which streamlines the deployment and management of these models. So I'm using the same loan application example where I have two models. One is a SaaS model, which in this case is a champion, and the other is a Python model. Now I want to click on one of these models and look at the model cards. And my model card has 5 sections. In the overview section, I can see the model health information like accuracy, fairness, and model drift information. I can also see the governance details of this model, for example, who last modified this model, who is the model owner. In the model usage section, I can see very useful information about the intended use of the model, the benefits, but at the same time, more importantly, out of the scope use cases as well as limitations of these models. In the data summary section, I can see the training data information, privacy risks, and any sensitive data which was used in training the model. Next, in the model summary section, I can see the scoring results, the algorithm used in the model, various accuracy matrices, and when I scored the model, various interpretability reports, and the fairness assessment as well, all in one single glance. Now, my next section, which is model audit, is very interesting because it's about ongoing monitoring of models against preset thresholds. So here in this case, you can see that I have got various matrices like accuracy, which is compared against preset thresholds. And in case I have a model drift, SaaS Via can automatically flag an alert for me. Now, in summary, what we saw is that this is AI nutrition label, which helps all my stakeholders, whether they are data scientists or business users, to easily understand the model and then manage and govern this in an easier manner.
Absolutely. So we've seen how an XOps approach can help to streamline our innovation, but also maintain control and oversight with these model cards. So now we're ready to move into our implementation pillar. And leaders know that implementation is not a one-lane road. They need to evaluate a mix of different options and see what the best path is for them. Maybe it's an AI platform where they can custom develop models and seamlessly deploy them into their existing systems. Or it could be prepackaged AI models that are good for them, that offer light customization and rapid and cost-effective deployment. Or it could be AI agents, which are redefining the way that businesses operate today. Manisha, could you give us a deeper dive into this implementation pillar?
Yeah, sure. In fact, Brianna, since the interest of the room is no surprise AI agents, let's talk about that topic. Now, what I'll do is I'll take the same loan application example, and you can think that we used AI platform and models as we saw earlier, where we automated tasks like managing data, determining probability of default, and embedding decisions in this online lending application. Now, with agentic AI, we can go further. We can now generate loan application summaries. We can guide users to interact with this online lending application through a conversational experience. And then we can also execute tasks through the decision flow. For example, if I want to send an email to my customer when my loan application is approved. But in the end, the core result of this is that my loan officer becomes more informed and productive. So if we double-click on this further, I have an example of an agentic workflow here where I have multiple agents interacting together. My loan approval agent is determining the probability of default, and then it's using that information to send it to a large language model to generate summary of my loan application. My bias agent is raising an alert if bias is found in the approval process. And I also have a product offer agent, which is suggesting next best offers, one for loan products, the other for credit card products. But what's great here is that I'm not starting my agentic AI process from scratch. I'm reusing the solid foundation I've built through the AI blueprint and SaaSvia. I have prepared the data, I have cleaned it, and I'm governing it. I have also set up guardrails for a trustworthy AI behavior. Just like before, I've selected a champion and a challenger model for determining my probability of default, and also embedded model cards to monitor my model health. What I want to leave you with is that all these best practices which applied in the AI world still apply in the agentic AI world, so remember that. But I do want to show you this in action, so let's have a look at the demo of my loan application. So this is my loan application dashboard, where Cheryl is a VIP customer. She has got a high credit score, but her application got rejected. So I go to my agent and ask him to explain the reason. And my agent comes back with the information that Cheryl has had inconsistent income for the last 3 quarters. And by the way, she also missed a payment. But I do want to know more, so I ask my agent to show me the decision flow, and the agent takes me to the SaaS Intelligent Decisioning interface. Here I am at the path tracking ability for the Intelligent Decisioning platform, and it shows how each application moves through various decision points in the agentic workflow. The thicker the line here, the more actions that specific agent has taken. Now, I have understood the movement of application, but I want to go back and see the agentic decision flow. So I go back to the Intelligent Decisioning interface, which is a low-code, no-code design interface to build my AI agent. Here you can see that I have a loan approval agent which calls the credit scoring model. It checks for privacy, that's very important, and then calls the large language model to generate my application summary. My product offer agent is recommending next best offer. And you can see here that it's built as a separate decision flow, which I can embed in another agentic application as well. Finally, I ask my agent to show me the model card, which in this case, it tells me that I use my gradient boosting model to determine the probability of default for my applicant, which is Cheryl in this case. So what you saw here is not just agentic AI, but a combination of probabilistic and deterministic approaches working together to ensure that my agent remains trustworthy.
All right, so we have seen how leaders can kind of meet this current moment when it comes to their adoption, to their implementation. And that means we can move on to our next pillar, which is adoption. And when we think about our leader organizations, the ones that are really excelling, it's important to also think about the employees that are working hard to help that organization reach their excellent results. I'm talking about our data engineers, data scientists, ML ops engineers, business analysts, and more, and I'm sure there's many of you in the room today. You all are important to the AI lifecycle and might have specific challenges and needs as a group that need to be met within your organization. One way that that's possible is through collaboration. So a collaborative environment that enhances seamless handoffs between these technical personas can help to do a lot of things. It can overcome internal resistance to AI. It can accelerate an environment of experimentation and innovation. And it can also help trustworthy AI scale within an organization. And this is really core to our governance pillar. You can see here that trustworthy AI actually kind of wraps around everything that we've talked about so far in our blueprint, and that's intentional. Leaders know that trustworthy AI is not just a nice to have, it's a must have. And weaving it into each layer of this blueprint can really help with a strategic trustworthy AI approach.
Okay, so what we'll do is look at how these various personas are interacting together in a trustworthy AI workflow.
Absolutely. We can see that this workflow here combines our adoption pillar and our governance pillar. So this is a way to link together all of these personas that we just talked about who are likely working on the same AI project, doing different things at different points in time. And what we're doing is embedding trustworthy AI checks into the work that they already do to ensure that the standards that are set by that organization around trustworthy AI are being met. Manisha, I know that we have developed a workflow that looks very similar to this one in accordance with NIST standards. Could you share that with us?
Yeah, sure, Brianna. And what we'll do is we'll move on to the next capability within SaaS Via, which is SaaS Workflow Manager. Now, within the SaaS Workflow Manager, I have created a trustworthy AI workflow. The orange icons represent a sub-process, and the blue icons represent the workflow tasks which are assigned to various stakeholders. Now, a lot of these tasks outline key actions like documenting the project, evaluating model performance, providing explainability, assessing data privacy and bias, documenting risk and justifications for various decisions you have taken in the data and AI lifecycle. Finally, the trustworthy AI workflow here provides step-by-step guidance to all the stakeholders engaged in the entire process of data and AI. And it ensures that AI systems are auditable and trustworthy for all stakeholders. And this follows the NIST guidelines.
All right, so we've seen how collaboration can enhance innovation, experimentation, and especially trustworthy AI with this workflow that Manisha has just shown us. So now we're ready to move on to our final pillar of this AI blueprint, which is industry. And we've seen leaders be really successful in any space by finding a tailored solution approach that can really help them maximize both relevance and effectiveness. Manisha, could you tell us more about this?
Sure, Brianna. In fact, many leaders are trying to simplify their vendor ecosystems. They want fewer strategic partners who can solve more and more business problems across more and more parts of their organization. So what you're seeing on the screen is representing SaaS portfolio of AI solutions across industries. And it covers areas like risk management, fraud prevention, customer intelligence, IoT, healthcare solutions, and many more. If you want to learn more about it, I would encourage you to visit our industry booths and also look at all the other breakout sessions. But the common theme here is that leaders are applying AI to industry-specific problems to maximize the ROI, and that's where the end game lies. And SaaS is here to help you more holistically to achieve that success.
All right, so we can see our completed blueprint. We did it. And we can see here that each of these pillars really ties together to create a comprehensive AI strategy that can help our leaders not just implement AI successfully across their organization, but feel like they're really getting ahead and finding success in this AI gold rush that Manisha mentioned. Manisha, can you give us a little more detail here?
Yes, that's right, Brianna. In fact, what I want to do is I want to leave you with some of the differentiators we saw throughout the session and in our demos. And SaaS Via offers end-to-end AI capabilities which help you address each and every pillar in the AI blueprint. And we saw a lot of demos through that as well. And these are all essential to become the AI leader we spoke about. But what I want to particularly highlight and for you to remember is that within the same ecosystem, today, you can build your AI agents and reach that same Mount Agentic AI peak I spoke to you about and go take your selfie on there. So time to wrap. I know Dan is checking the time. So I will leave you with these 3 takeaways for our session. Number 1, the gap between AI observers and leaders is widening rapidly in this AI gold rush. So my suggestion to all of you is build on the foundation you've already created over years, don't discard it, and just don't follow the hype. Learn how to navigate it. Number 2, remember that agentic AI requires a strong foundation and a holistic strategy across people, process, and technology. It's not just about using some cool technology and building agents. You have to make sure your strategy is holistic. And SaaS Via empowers an enterprise-ready AI blueprint, one that is inclusive of agentic AI. And finally, remember that you're all giants here. You've spent so many years in AI, and agentic AI needs your help to make sense for your end users. It's good to be leaders, it's good to be observers, but I hope that as an industry, we do not meet the fate of the Titanic. And that's why we want you to understand the iceberg and learn how to navigate it. So wish you all the best for your AI success. Thank you.
Thank you so much. How about a round of applause for our presenters today? Thank you, Manisha. Thank you, Brianna. If you have a question, I'll bring the microphone over to you. So just raise your hand and I'll walk over. Questions, comments, anyone?
Hi, great presentation. We came a little late, maybe you already covered. How SaaS Via helps in this developing the agentic AI or anything, if you could?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And if you remember, even the main stage session, our Chief Technology Officer, Brian Harris, spoke about how we can use SaaS intelligent decisioning to create agentic workflows. Our belief is that agentic AI is not a separate application. It has to sit on top of what you've built. And in Via today, you can drag and drop various out-of-the-box connectors. You can connect to your large language models, and you can establish some guardrails around it, embed people in that decision-making, have human in the loop, and build trust for the AI agents. So that's, in summary, how you can build AI agents with our technology.
Thank you, Manisha.
Hi, congratulations, it was an amazing presentation. Quick question, for a company that's not well structured, you do suggest a build-up approach or a small scope going up for the full deck that you presented here? What's the best strategy that you recommend?
Yeah, in fact, I have myself been in the situations where I've implemented AI in my own business, being on the customer side for SaaS as well. And one of the learnings is you have to find the right path for your own organization. And in some organizations, success starts with initial innovation, and innovation triggers more innovation. So if there's a lot of resistance, I would suggest start small, try applications which create a lot of value and impact so that you can then build on that success.
Any other questions? We still have a few minutes. If anyone has another question or comment. Going once, going twice. If not, then just please another round of applause for Manisha and Brianna.